pylons up, and it looks like he's going to invest in that expansion. So this is going to be the critical phase here. If Hwasin can discover this expansion, and Hwasin really needs to do it this time around. He didn't in the last game. He needs to scout around. He is scouting around with an SCV to the south, but actually I think he was sending that SCV to build an expansion, but that's going to be found out by Bisu. But Hwasin needs to definitely scout around this time, and Bisu's now once again done exactly the same. He's got a hidden expo now at the 7 o'clock position, so he's going to build an expo at the 7 o'clock as well as one at the 9 o'clock position, and that will just give him a massive advantage if Hwasin doesn't scout that and doesn't realize what's going on. That SCV is going to get taken out by that Dragoon. That SCV has been killed, so he needs to send his vultures out. I guess he's reluctant to send those vultures out because he needs them to defend his base, and that's going to give Bisu the time to set up those expansions and to set up a defense. And excuse me, Hwasin needs to find those expansions. If Hwasin doesn't find those expansions, this matchup is going to just end for him, and he must have learned his lesson by now. This is what happened to him, and Bisu now finally coming with that job. Hwasin hasn't got that turret up yet. He might be able to get that turret up just in time, which is going to stop Bisu from doing significant damage to Hwasin in his main. But Hwasin has now got a pylon block up on the wall of his expansion at the 9 o'clock position, so setting up that expansion and then reaping the advantage from it seems to be paying off for Bisu, and I think it will probably pay off for Bisu yet again. Just a moment of lag there, but it seems to have sorted itself out. And Bisu is sending probes out, and Hwasin has got a vulture in there. He's got spider mines in there, so he's going to be able to kill off all of these probes. So he should be able to take out all 4 or 5 of Bisu's probes. So Bisu just lost those 5 or 6 probes for nothing, and now he's lost about 7, 8 probes. So Hwasin takes out 8 probes, and he's got to know now that Bisu's got this expansion up. He has to know about it. Unfortunately for Hwasin, he can't really do much about it because he doesn't have enough units to push out as well as defend his main from potential drops. He doesn't have enough units to do that, and even if he does manage to take out that expansion at the 9 o'clock position, he's going to be unaware of that expansion at the 7 o'clock position. And you know, I've got to say, I feel this game going to Bisu as well, because Hwasin is not doing it, and Hwasin managed to sneak a couple of vultures into Bisu's natural expo. He's just going to kill off a few probes there, and Hwasin doing an excellent job of harassing Bisu's economy, but Bisu won't mind losing a few probes because he's got 4 nexuses, and he's going to be pumping probes like anything. And Hwasin once again planting spider mines in the retreat path of Bisu's units. Bisu hasn't put up that expansion yet at the 7 o'clock position. He's probably just waiting till he has enough resources built up to do that. He doesn't want to fall too far behind in terms of units and allow Hwasin an early push. So the fact that he's got that Citadel of Adna fairly early means that he is going to have speed lots quite early on, and Hwasin, I think, is just about ready, just about gearing up for that push. He needs a few more vultures and then he's going to be good to go. He's also getting that scan up. He's put up his academy. He's also getting a scan up, and Hwasin needs to find that expo. There might be a block. There might be a way through there for the vultures potentially. There's only 3 pylons there. I'm not sure if that wall is completely blocked off. And Hwasin now just trying to put a few spider mines down to the path to that expo. And Hwasin finally moving out with that push. Bisu taking, as I predicted, the opportunity in that to attack Hwasin's main, and Hwasin is going to be forced to defend it here. So as I said, Bisu dropping with perfect timing against Hwasin, and Hwasin is going to find it quite difficult to defend this. Those Dark Temple are just going to be able to kill off those Marines, and Hwasin needs to put down a couple of spider mines there, and Hwasin forces Bisu to waste some scans to try and take out this Dark Templar, and Hwasin is just sieged up. So Hwasin actually not going for that push. Hwasin is just setting up a defense to set up an expansion of his own. So rather than try and nullify Bisu's economic advantage by attacking it, Hwasin is going to counter it by setting up an expo of his own. I'm not sure how good of an option that's going to be for Hwasin, because he doesn't have a gas there, so he is going to be a gas down compared to Bisu. And Bisu is going to have 3 gas, whereas Hwasin is restricted to only 2, just like in the previous game. And Bisu does have speed loss. Bisu has a lot of speed loss ready, and Hwasin needs to defend his siege tank this time around. It looks like Bisu is going to actually come in and try and break this push very soon, and if Hwasin doesn't defend those tanks, he's going to find himself in a world of trouble, and Bisu probably is going to be able to flank quite effectively. Bisu now coming in for that flank, and I think Hwasin is too spread out. Hwasin's forces are too spread out, and Hwasin just trying to cover all the avenues as he establishes, and this looks like it's going for a long macro war game. Both players are going to try and macro and establish the economic advantage. Bisu, I feel, is ahead at this point of the game because of the fact that he has got that extra expansion at the 7 o'clock position, and also he had his 9 o'clock expansion, 8 o'clock expansion up much earlier than Hwasin did. Hwasin now, with a lot of vultures maneuvering around the map, again, he might leave himself vulnerable. Bisu's timing thus far has been perfect, and then Bisu takes advantage of this opportunity of this time, and Hwasin once again trying to cut off the retreat back, trying to cut off the reinforcements, but Bisu is not going to make the same mistake twice. He does have observers with both his groups of units, so he's not going to make that, and Hwasin just trying to get in, trying to pick up some of those zealots, and Hwasin trying to get into Bisu's bane and into his expo, and he's just lost about 6 vultures for nothing there. That was pointless sacrifice by Hwasin, and Bisu's going to clear out those spider mines, because Hwasin this time doesn't have the push going to accompany the pressure of those spider mines. Last time around he was pushing as he planted those spider mines, and that hastened Bisu, and Bisu was forced to hurry up, and that's why he ended up losing the units on that occasion. Bisu has still not built that expansion. Looks like he's ready, gearing up to build it now though, and Bisu has a lot of units, and I think Bisu has got the advantage in terms of units, and he's got the advantage in terms terms of economy. So again, it looks like it's going to be a hard-fought game for Hwasin, but I think Hwasin is going to lose the game ultimately in the end. And Bisu now setting up that carrier. I summarize that's probably going to be for arbiters. I don't think Bisu is going to switch to carriers. He didn't do it in the last game. I don't think he sees anything to do with this game. It would be hilarious though if he ended up going for scouts. And Hwasin now is going to find himself forced to defend this attack. And Hwasin has actually got himself sieged up below Bisu's ramp. So the fact that he's taken up that and Bisu is now going to come and try and break this expansion. Hwasin doesn't have a lot in front of his tank, so those zealots are potentially going to do a lot of damage. And Bisu microing those zealots, excellently sending them in one at a time. And once the spider mines have been cleared, he sends a lesson. Storm goes off on all of Hwasin's tanks, so Hwasin's tanks get taken out, and Hwasin's defense collapses. Bisu just went through that defense as if it was not there, and now Hwasin finds his natural expo exposed and undefended. Hwasin has got a lot of tanks up on that ramp and around the other expo he took, but Hwasin has spread himself too thin, and he's going to find it very difficult to hold this expo, and he's actually going to end up losing his natural expo to Hwasin. Hwasin is going to storm, Bisu is going to storm all of those SCVs. Hwasin is trying to set up tanks on that ramp, up at the ramp, but they're within range of the Dragoons. Hwasin trying to prevent Bisu from coming up that ramp and trying to slow him down that way, and it looks like he has held off that push by Bisu, but his defense did collapse. He did lose a lot of units, and Bisu is now in that expo, and Bisu is killing off a lot of his SCVs, and that's going to prove vital because Hwasin is going to have his economy damaged significantly, and he's already behind on economy compared to Bisu. I'm sure Bisu's got a Nexus building at that 7 o'clock place by now, but I think Hwasin has got an expansion building at the 6 o'clock base himself, at the 5 o'clock base himself as well, and Hwasin loses a lot of SCVs, but he hasn't been able to take out those Dragoons yet. Those Dragoons still in the corner of Hwasin's base, hiding there, taking out SCVs, and Bisu continues to harass Hwasin on all quarters with drops. Hwasin has got his tanks set up though, and if Bisu just ran a few Zealots in there, those tanks would get taken out because he's got nothing to defend them. Hwasin finally managed to clear out his natural expo, but he's lost a lot in terms of economy on that, and I think he's going to find it very difficult to win in this matchup. Fortunately, he does have a lot of tanks surviving, so it's not like he's completely threadbare like he was in the last game, because the last time around, when Bisu broke his push, Hwasin had nothing left, and it was only a matter of time before Bisu went and finished off the game finally once and for all. So Hwasin now just again maneuvering around the map, and Hwasin really needs to scan or something. He's been bitten already by Bisu using a drop expo. I guess the fact that he knows Bisu's got an expo at 8 o'clock makes Hwasin think that he's not going to have yet another expo at 7 o'clock, and that might prove to be Hwasin's undoing. He does have a significant force built up though. He does have a lot of vultures and tanks, and Hwasin macroing very heavily. Bisu doesn't seem to have as many units in that push. He's just clearing out the middle of the map. I presume he's got more units waiting at the Show2's expo, and Hwasin finally out with that push, and it looks like Hwasin might be going, and Hwasin actually is going to ignore that expansion. I think Hwasin is just going to go for Bisu's main. I think Hwasin might actually ignore that. Hwasin trying to flank Bisu's forces, try and push Bisu into a corner of the map, try and stop him from connecting with his main, and Hwasin is setting up those tanks in the middle of the map, and he's forcing Bisu back, and Hwasin this time has actually got his vultures in front of his tanks, so that's a very clever move. Excuse me, and that's what he needs to do, and Bisu is just going to have his arbiter pop out, but I don't think that's going to bother Hwasin too much. And Bisu is losing a lot of units. He's trying to fight a running battle. He's trying to defend in depth, trying to maneuver backwards as he kills off Bisu's unit, as he kills off Hwasin's unit. But Hwasin has macroed up a large army here. Hwasin has macroed up an absolutely gigantic sized army, and Bisu has very little in terms of units. And if Hwasin actually goes for this push now, he might actually have enough to just take this by force. So even though Bisu broke that push of Hwasin's, Hwasin is actually now going to be able to set up that contain. Bisu does have that arbiter up, but I think Hwasin is going to be able to set up that contain. Hwasin has a lot of units. Unfortunately, Hwasin might end up getting flanked from behind because Bisu does have that force behind Hwasin, but Bisu doesn't have a lot of observers, and Bisu's having to rush to try and get there, and he's lost a lot of units to the spider mines, and Hwasin is just strolling into Bisu's main. This might be a great comeback by Hwasin. It did look to me like Bisu had the advantage in that game, definitely had the economic advantage, but Hwasin out of nowhere has mass macroed a lot of units, and he's got a lot of tanks and vultures, and he is just streaming down Bisu's throat. He is just shoving those units down Bisu's throat, and Bisu is being forced to take it. Bisu has no answer but to simply open wide and accept, and it does look like Hwasin might deliver a critical blow here if he can set up this contain against Bisu's gateways. Bisu is not going to be able to find a way back in this game because Hwasin is just going to be killing off his units as they pop out. Hwasin though might be a little bit short on scans, and Hwasin is sending a second group of units down towards his expansion, the 6 o'clock position. I don't know what the purpose of that unit is. I think he should just persist with this attack on Bisu's main and finish the game off here while he can. And definitely Bisu's lost his natural expo, so any economic advantage that he might have had or might have thought he had has gone off, and arbiter goes off. Stasis field goes off by the arbiters, and Hwasin has already anticipated that Bisu is going to try and use this few units to try and take that expansion out of the 6th position. He's sent a lot of vultures and spider mines, and he's laying the path. Bisu only has a handful of dragoons there, and Hwasin was just going to be able to take them out with those spider mines, and Bisu is not going to be able to do any damage to his economy. So it does look like Hwasin is going to win this game despite that arbiter stasis field.